Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. Through this channel I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this is a journey of investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is to try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades. We do take into account losses. So for further details about how to join us for less than $9 a month, information is available in the description below. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down FINRA's response to investor questions. So on my tweet here, you will see that I've responded to their tweet where they said, "We received a number of questions relating to a corporate action and trading halt in MMTLP. Learn more about how corporate actions and trading halts are processed, as well as specific information related to MMTLP." So what I've basically said they are saying is it's taken them approximately 100 days to get some answers. And as investors, we have only been asking for protection and honesty. So let's have a look at in terms of what the information provided by FINRA includes. So we can see here that FINRA on their website have added a section, and this section is FAQ, frequently asked questions, for MMTLP corporate action and the trading halt. This is dated March the 16th, 2023. So I'm going to try and break down some of the key points that they have answered, or should we actually say not answered, but let's see what has been shared. So first of all, they have acknowledged that a number of questions related to corporate action and the trading halt in series preferred shares of metamaterials under the symbol MMTLP have been received. I think it's more than a number. I would say it's thousands and thousands and thousands, and it's taken you over 100 days to get this response now. So I'm not sure how long it's taken FINRA to complete this update, but I think it's been down to investor pressure. I think it's down to possibly pressure from the SEC and obviously potentially pressure also from Congress. But so let's see what they are saying. So corporate action, FINRA's role, they say FINRA reviews the submission and publishes a notification. And if we continue here, it also states here FINRA regulates broker dealers that facilitate investor access to the securities market. So if you are saying you regulate broker dealers, that's exactly what we want you to do. The broker dealers are supposed to comply with closing out short positions. If you are saying you're regulating that, that is a trading rule. So I expect you to do that. So I'm hoping that question has been answered, but obviously it hasn't. So continuing with that, it states here under the corporate action on July the 15th, 2022, they are saying the company filed, when they say company, I'm assuming they mean metamaterials, filed an S1 registration statement with the SEC to register common stock for NextBridge, which at that time was a wholly owned subsidiary of metamaterials. Yes, we know that. And what they're also saying here, and I think this is, in my opinion, FINRA creating a grey area and a little bit of doubt, which is not a nice thing to do. What they are saying here is NextBridge would be an independent public reporting company after several amendments. The registration statements for NextBridge shares became effective on November the 18th, 2022. So investors and obviously imbeciles have been arguing over it, whether it's private or public. We know it's public reporting, but a company can either be public or it can be private. It cannot be both. So what you have done here is created further doubt by basically saying what we already know. Yes, it is public reporting because of the size, but we know it's a private company. Why did you not clarify and say it's a private company? Some of the imbeciles out there are saying that it can't be a private company because of the number of shareholders. What the imbeciles need to know, what about Twitter? Are you saying Twitter with the number of shareholders is also a public company? I suppose you can't answer that question. So if we continue to the next section here, what the FINRA have also stated here in terms of the corporate action, each holder of the series preferred share MMTLP would be entitled to receive shares of the common stock for every 1 share of MMTLP. Yes, we know that. FINRA's corporate action also stated that MMTLP would be deleted effective December the 13th, 2022. Yes, we know that as well. Shares were to be cancelled as of December the 14th, which was obviously the distribution date. We know that obviously didn't happen. On December the 9th, which is very, very late, FINRA halted trading in MMTLP. So I wonder why you waited till December the 9th. You haven't explained why suddenly on December the 9th you realised, oh, hold on a minute, these dates don't make sense. I thought FINRA were professionals. I thought FINRA would have known that these dates don't add up, if that's what you're saying. Well, why was a corporate action initially authorised and approved, and then suddenly on December the 9th you decided to halt trading? And you're saying here it was to protect investors and the public interest. Since imposing the halt, FINRA has received the questions regarding MMTLP trading halt and the impact on investors. So you're saying it was to protect investors. Give me one investor that you have protected, just one. I wonder which investor that would be that you have protected. You've actually protected 0 retail investors. Facts. Now if we move on to the first point here, and the first point here is number 1, why did FINRA halt trading in MMTLP? So what I have actually done with regard to this question, I have highlighted in a tweet my response and some of the sections highlighted by FINRA. So first of all, let's have a look at the highlighted sections. It states here, among FINRA's concerns were the facts that December the 12th MMTLP shares would cease to be DTC eligible. The shares would be cancelled at the time of distribution, December the 14th. Had MMTLP continued trading after December the 8th, there was a possibility, they are saying, that investors buying MMTLP during that time may not have realised those shares were about to be cancelled by Metamaterials. You're saying that investors are dumb. They may not receive MMTLP shares because they were cancelled, and you're saying that that is why you carried out the halt. So my response to this answer is you're basically saying the shares would have created, trading after December the 12th would have created uncertainty. So in my opinion here, investors would not have received Nexbridge hydrocarbons. So let's have a look at what has actually happened. And what I am saying is if you're actually, it does not take a genius to work out, well, if you were worried about that uncertainty, add on 2 more days, problem solved. No uncertainty, trade settle, everybody gets it, no problem. Why, you know, it does not take a genius to work that out. What you now have actually created is the complete opposite of what you are saying in writing is the intention. FINRA, you have now created the biggest mother of uncertainty and financial crisis for investors in the history of the stock market. This is bigger than FTX, this is bigger than Silicon Valley, and because we know if they're closed, if shorts were to close their positions, we were talking hundreds of billions of dollars in terms of cost. This would have been very expensive for them. So obviously, do you really think that your decision helped the MMTLP investors like you are saying? Or were there any other motives? Because this question is, and this explanation of this situation does not make sense. Let's now have a look at number 2. What they've said in number 2 is, why did FINRA halt trading on December the 9th if shareholders as of December the 12th were entitled to receive Nexbridge hydrocarbons? So they're saying again that because of the settlement, they're talking about 2 business trading days. They're also saying again, trades executed on December the 9th, 12 will not have settled. They're also saying it's important because a seller ceases to be the holder of shares and a purchaser becomes the holder of the shares. Only those trades in MMTLP that were executed before the December the 8th would have settled in time. So again, it brings the question, were you not aware of this earlier? Why were you only aware of this on December the 9th? You did approve the corporate notice, so why did you approve it and then suddenly change your mind? And at the bottom, they're saying there was uncertainty as to whether these trades would have settled in an orderly manner. So are you now saying you've created order? Well, why don't you say you created order? That's what you're saying the intention was your intention and your objective achieved? No answer to that. Question 3 here, has the MMTLP trading halt ended? So they are saying MMT halt ended concurrent with FINRA's deletion of the MMTLP symbol. This occurred on December the 13th. FINRA's website was updated December the 16th to reflect December the 13th end, and this occurred later than normal due to a coding issue. So whose fault is that? So you are basically accepting an error there. You've agreed to a mistake and you've agreed that that was down to a coding error. So again, this is something that I think is a little bit pathetic. Number 4, How were MMTLP shares publicly quoted and trading in the first place? So this is a big question that we would like to know. So what you are saying is the issuer. Who is the issuer? So I'm assuming you're saying it was Metamaterials, filed with the SEC a Form S3 registration statement for the offering of MMTLP shares and obtained the QSIP number. Thus, the registered MMTLP shares were freely tradable and were not subject to public trading limitations. Where a security is freely tradable, a public market for the security may develop as it did with MMTLP. And the other thing I've noted of interest at the bottom, it says in some cases a broker-dealer must file a form with FINRA. This form is known as a Form 211, which we know about, and they are saying, FINRA are saying in this case, FINRA did not receive a Form 211. Instead, broker-dealers relied on the exception to SEC Rule 15C211 that permits broker-dealers to publish a quotation for unsolicited customer orders. So what you're basically saying, it was down to the broker-dealers. They relied on an exception. So you are saying also here there was no Form 211. Again, I think this is something that we do need more clarification on. Are you basically saying it was the broker-dealers that were responsible? Let's now move on to point number 6, and this one is titled, Did FINRA cancel the MMTLP shares? Did FINRA delete the MMTLP symbol? So what they are saying here, they did not cancel MMTLP shares. Metamaterials cancelled the shares as of December the 14th. What FINRA does not, they're saying FINRA does not cancel any securities. But what they are saying is FINRA deleted MMTLP on December the 13th in light of imminent cancellation of the shares and announced by the company in connection with NextBridge. December the 8th, what they're saying is FINRA amended its original December the 6th corporate action, clarifying amongst other things that deleting the MMTLP symbol on December the 13th rather than cancelling the shares. So because MMTLP was cancelled by the issuer, which is Metamaterials, they can no longer be traded and can no longer be reinstated. So MMTLP will not be coming back. Number 6, what happened to investors who did not sell shares prior to the trading halt? Then basically investors who had settled positions with MMTLP were entitled to receive the shares of NextBridge as part of the corporate action, and that basically means each and every single one of us. So we're entitled to it. You are there to protect us. So you must ensure we get those shares, and I don't think that's a question that has been answered. Number 7, what would happen to any trades executed after December the 8th had FINRA not halted? So this is their big justification. They're saying the T+2 settlement cycle trades executed after December the 8th would not have settled in time, so they keep repeating the same thing. There was a concern that the shares may have cancelled by the issuer before the broker-to-broker settlement occurred, and there was potential for confusion and disagreement. So you're basically saying you avoided confusion, you avoided disagreement, you created certainty, and you have created obviously fairness, and you created obviously a better situation for investors, and you created a situation for investors to get their NextBridge hydrocarbon shares. I think that's a joke. And the next section here, number 8, is there public data concerning short sale activity and MMTLP? They're saying yes. Several sets of data published by FINRA and the SEC about short sale activity for MMTLP. So they're saying the reports are available on FINRA's website. Short sale volume, they're saying here, the volume for transactions MMTLP from November 16, 2022 through to November the 30th, they're looking at just in excess of 7.4 million shares, public short interest on settlement date, November the 30th. And I think in response to this, what I would also say is shouting out the hashtag release the blue sheets. I think that was something that we would want in response to this. So section 9 is one that I have tweeted about. So it states here, what happens if short positions in MMTLP were not closed out before FINRA halted trading? So what I am basically saying here in response to number 9 is we now have confirmation from FINRA confirming that short positions have gone into a private company. Can you confirm the SEC trading rules did not allow this and all shorts should have closed with infinite loss? So tagging in the SEC there, I think an urgent investigation is needed for this breach of securities and trading regulations. Let's now have a look at section 10. Section 10 here is what should investors do if they believe they have not received their NextBridge hydrocarbon shares. Well, I don't think anybody's received them really. Most of the people who received them was before obviously the close, and it states here, if you held settled positions in MMTLP on December the 12th 2022, your account should reflect your position in NextBridge. Your broker dealers is required to maintain possession or control of your shares in compliance with federal law. So obviously you're the regulator of brokers, so if brokers don't provide us with our shares, what are you going to do about it? You remember, you are there to regulate the brokers, so we as investors are saying the brokers are not providing us with the shares. They are obviously including extortionate costs, and that certainly should not be the case. That is not fair. That is not protecting investors. Again, what will you be prepared to do about that? And what you're basically saying here is you should contact your broker dealer to understand the status of your NextBridge shares. But what you should also say is that if we are not happy, that FINRA will take action against the brokers. I think that should have been added. And final section 11 is also a section that I have tweeted about, and this is, are the NextBridge shares tradable? So obviously it says NextBridge Hydrocarbons is an independent public company, public reporting company. They have said the registered shares are freely tradable under federal law. So that's what they are saying. So my response here is if you actually are saying that, well, let's answer these questions. So FINRA believe NextBridge shares are tradable. If they are not tradable, if they are tradable, why are they not on the OTC, and why do investors not have access to their shares? It's a simple question. Give us a simple answer. Again, tagging in the SEC. Can you educate the uneducated? And I think that's something we need. What I'd like to do is finish off by sharing some reactions. So first, shout out here to Tony from Market Moves, who's posted, FINRA, your MMTLP FAQ is intentionally misleading. What you should have done is direct a position close only, combined with the directive for shorts to close by December the 12th. Your position will be closed, or your position will be closed for you. So if you had have done that, then obviously all securities regulations would have been complied with. What the conclusion of what happened is the short buddies were protected at the expense of retail shareholders. So 100% agree with that. And the reason for that is because obviously not a single retail investor has gained or benefited. If you are saying you were doing this to remove uncertainty and also protect retail investors, give us another example of any investor that was protected. We know which investors were protected, and we know it was not retail. So next shout out here is to Drew, who stated, hey FINRA, you are truly an organisation that wants to live up to the mission statement of protecting retail, giving full transparency. Then show us the MMTLP blue sheets for all 105 broker dealers, market makers and clearing houses. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to respond to this. I think it will take discovery, or it will take obviously potentially a subpoena from Congress for this, but we will keep pushing, and hopefully that could be the Pandora's box that exposes everything. Next shout out here is to Rosa, who's come in with a question to deal with the other issue that we looked at with regard to NextBridge Hydrocarbons being a private company. She said here, does have too many shareholders, to have a concise method of notifying shareholders, which means they must be public reporting. So everybody who knows company law and corporate law will know this. So Rosa is attorney, remember, and she is aware of this. I'm also aware that this is correct and true, but they are still privately trading. Yes, they are public reporting, privately trading company. Please stop confusing the terms, and obviously that is something that was not really clarified by FINRA, because I think FINRA have created some doubt. So next shout out here is to Curtis, who stated here, how do you intend on closing out short positions on MMTLP where your company's facilitated the transaction? So that is something that is obviously tagging in the brokers, and it certainly seems like FINRA are passing the buck over to them. Shout out now to Crucial Mix, who said, thank you for your FAQs. You basically now have admitted that counterfeit shares, there was also overselling and short positions in NextBridge Hydrocarbons. This is nice. It gives us a case. It gives us a precedent. opinion that will allow our court cases victory. So a great point there. Next shout out here is to Rare DD, who's copied in an image from TD Ameritrade with regard to the MMTLP FINRA corporate action notice. And Rare DD has stated here, I think brokers have their own rules. In regard to MMTLP situation, FINRA are claiming the corporate action didn't compel the shorts to close their position. That is irrelevant. I agree with that. The question is, did the brokers intend to compel their clients to close based on the available information? We know there was no closing going on. We know it certainly looks like the brokers may have been aware in advance, and that is something I think Richard is looking at in his obviously case as well. And finally, to finish off, last shout out here is to John, who's just tweeted shortly, and he said, with regard to the MMTLP family, since FINRA has passed the blame and responsibility of closing short positions onto the broker dealers, we should all be closing the broker dealers, asking them how they are going to close out the short positions, why they have not done so already. We'll do that in writing. Ask them if they have more long shares on their books, then they have shares allocated to them at AST. Ask them if they have any short positions, ask if they have lent out any shares, how the broker dealers are going to act upon FINRA's notice that the broker dealers are responsible for settling all positions, paper the file as they say. So what John certainly seems to be laying the groundworks for is more protest action and potentially litigation and cases against the broker dealers. What FINRA seems to be doing is maybe they are pushing the broker dealers under the bus and saying, look, leave FINRA alone, we're self-regulatory, go after the broker dealers. If that's what you're saying and that's what it takes, then obviously as a community we will certainly look at that as well. And finally, thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.